You reported Sutherland Springs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever have to walk back your story?
No.
Okay. Did the governor ever have to walk back his story?
No.
Okay. Did the president ever have to walk back his story?
No.
He represents grieving families, and he's had enough. We're talking tonight about two South Texas tragedies, both in small towns, both carried out with assault rifles. The biggest difference between Sutherland Springs and Uvalde, the basic facts. We continue to have a back and forth on who did what and when, even some 4 weeks after that massacre at Robb Elementary. So tonight, I talked to a man who has a unique perspective on both of those cases, and he calls the lack of answers in Uvalde astonishing.
In Uvalde, it's the waiting and the waiting and the waiting. It doesn't seem like the story in Uvalde is that different, that the truth can't come out.
Separated by 4.5 years and 118 miles. Shooting scenes in Sutherland Springs and Uvalde. George LeGrand has seen firsthand the pain and frustration that lingers long after a crime scene is cleared. As one of the attorneys representing the survivors from the First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, they had answers in 24 to 48 hours. In Uvalde, it's 4 weeks and counting.
Is it alarming to you, the lack of information coming out of Uvalde?
No, there's lots of information coming out. I'm alarmed by the flip-flop all the time. The story is changing all the time. As you bury your child, don't know what to say. You don't have it resolved in your mind as to what happened to your child. That's terrible to me.
His is from a family's view. George LeGrand isn't representing anyone in Uvalde, but he does see similarities to what happened in Sutherland Springs, and maybe even a link. A federal judge awarded his Sutherland Springs clients $230 million. But after the government appealed, that ruling is now in legal limbo. Two tragedies where those left behind are still searching for a little bit of closure.
A little bit of closure, but they're never going to reach full closure for burying grandma or grandpa or the little girls and little boys at Sutherland Springs, and neither are the folks in Uvalde. But they are entitled to a little pieces of closure here and there, don't you think?
Absolutely.
So why don't we try to help them get it?
So how do we help get closure? George LeGrand says we keep the story alive, or maybe I should say stories. The Sutherland Springs survivors searching for justice as the Uvalde families are searching for answers. Basic facts that all sides still can't agree on. 4 weeks, 21 days after 21 lives were lost. Remember their names, yes, but also continue to keep their stories alive.